Welcome into the Kokomo Post Sports, a special coach highlight here. I am your host, Jay Stevens, and the high school basketball season is right around the corner. Before you know it, it's Thanksgiving week, and Western will be playing Kokomo to tip off the high school basketball season. And Western has a new basketball coach this year. It's Cameron Bennington, his first year at Western as the head basketball coach. Cameron, not only welcome to the show, but welcome to Howard County.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to get started, excited for the season to start, and excited to talk a little bit about it today.
Being a head coach in a new spot is fun. It's enjoyable, but also this is not your first time being a head coach at a first time at any level. Last season, you were the first-time head coach at Winnemac for you in your career. Then now at Western, being a first-time head coach at a new school, are there jitters or is it excitement? What kind of goes into being a new coach at a new school?
You know, I think all of the above is the answer to that one. There's jitters, there's excitement, there's nerves, there's stress. There's a lot of stuff that goes into your very first year being at a new place. But it's been a lot of fun. And this time around, taking over the program here at Western is a completely different situation than the one I walked into at Winnemac, and so it's been different this time, but a lot of the things still are the same. And Coach Lewis did a great job with these guys and with the program, and it's been really nice to step into a role and follow a guy like Coach Lewis and still have him as a resource in the building to talk to on a daily basis. But regardless, no two guys are going to coach the exact same way. So there's still the growing pains of the kids getting to know me getting to know the kids, and us trying to build relationships while also compete at the same time. And so you've had the stressful part about that, but it's been really exciting, and I'm really happy to be here.
What kind of things have you done early this offseason to kind of build relationships with the new players you'll be coaching?
Yeah, it started with us just getting in the gym together. And the first couple times we got in the gym, it was a lot of, I just wanted to let them play live. Like, hey, let's play, let's roll the ball out. You guys play, and I'm going to sit back and watch. And then we would do a little bit of skill development. And then it was, like I said, we got to play a little bit, and I got to watch, and that was fun to get to see. And, whether they know it or not, it's more for me at that time to watch their interactions and how they talk to one another, how they compete when they don't have the basketball in their hands, how they guard, how they defend. Everybody's out there, the new coach is sitting there, and everybody's, trying to show me what they can do with the ball in their hands. I was probably paying more attention to what they did when they didn't have the basketball in their hands at that point in time. But then after that, we got to start working on some things and start to rein it in a little bit. We went and played some games this summer, went to a team camp, which was really good for us, especially for the building relationships portion, where we spent 3 days at Indiana Wesleyan and got to stay the night together. And there was a lot of time in between games that we got to bond and hang out and, I hate to say that I'm like a father figure because I feel like I'm way too young for kids to look at me like that, but kind of like maybe more of an older brother with them. And it's been a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed the building relationships part of it, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I was excited for us to start competing and it start to be about basketball.
I heard you say a couple of times you let the players, the young guys, get out there and play. You sat back and watched. Do you ever get out there and play with them?
Not anymore. I used to. When I was an assistant coach, I would a little bit more, but now I don't know. I kind of always thought I would, but ever since it's happened, I've kind of changed my tune on that. I'm more of a watch and observe.
What kind of lessons did you learn last year at Winnemac when your first year being a head coach at the high school level? In that first year, challenges, there were some successes, there were some things that didn't go your way. What lessons did you learn last year at Winnemac?
There was a lot of them. There really was, being a first-year head coach. And, we started really, really poor last year. We started 0-8. We lost our first 8 games. And there was a lot of self-reflection going on at that time where, I kind of thought to myself, like, I know this game. I know the game of basketball. I've coached a lot of basketball. I've been around a lot of really good coaches that have won a lot of games. And so there was a lot of self-reflection. And I think the one thing that I learned the most that's helped me was to never take anything for granted or never assume that they know something. And realizing, my former athletic director at McCutcheon one time told me that the best head coaches are really good educators and are really good teachers in the classroom. And I went back to that, having that mindset at Winnemac there after our 8th loss, and we were going into Christmas break, and really started to think of let's strip it down to the basics and let's start teaching. Let's assume they know nothing and let's teach. And as soon as we did that, things started to happen. We started to win games. We started to slowly add the things back in, layer it back in, and got to a point where we won 7 of our last 11 games, and we're playing really well and beat a couple really good teams. And so I think the teaching aspect of it was the big thing for me that I always want to remember to be not just a basketball coach, but to be a teacher.
That's a good lesson for really any coach at any level. It doesn't have to be high school at the varsity level. It could be high school at the freshman level, or maybe even NBA or college at D1, or maybe a mid-major, high-level D1, mid-major, that level. Always keep teaching. Like, that's something that I think some people lose in the art of coaching is you're not just coaching in the game, you're teaching young men, maybe young ladies on a regular basis about the game of basketball, but also some of those things can translate into life. But even earlier, you talked about the relationships you're trying to build. All of those things, teaching in those moments, those are great moments for that lead to success, but also great moments for you that help you further in your career. How do you think those teachable moments and that lesson you learned last year will help you this year at Western?
I think it's already helped me from a standpoint of that. I think there's so many different offenses and defenses you can run in the game of basketball, and they all work. Like, let's be real, they all do. Or basketball's been around so long now. There's so many people study it. If you want to be a basketball coach and you want to learn about the game, you can go to YouTube and type in anything you want. Someone's made a YouTube clip to teach you something. Like, they all work, but none of them work if you don't teach them the right way. And if you don't teach it first, if you assume the kids know things, it's not going to work. It's going to look sloppy and it's not going to look good. But, I think it's paid off in a huge way for us this year, as we've really, really tried to make sure that we teach as much as we can before we install things. And there's been times where, I'll be honest, where we installed something and it didn't look very good, and I kind of sat back and had a time of reflection and really realized, as I'm thinking about it, that we probably didn't spend enough time teaching. And so we went back the next day and said, hey, this is on me. Let's strip it down and let's go back and start from square one again. And that's helped, and it's been really beneficial. But like you said, the great thing about it is, and the great thing about this game and all sports, is that these lessons can be translated into life. And that's what's so great about the game of basketball and the teaching of the lessons, is that all of these can apply to life in some way, and life after basketball. And I think that's the ultimate goal, is to build better young men through competition in the game of basketball.
You mentioned going on YouTube and YouTube University, where people can go on there and type in something, learn the motion offense, or how to run a 2-3 zone, or how to rotate that thing. What kind of offense and defense will Western play this year?
I think we're going to try to get after people, and I think that's that's kind of my personality and who I want to be. But again, I think it goes back to, in my mind, and I'm going to say that I think the best coaches in the world do this, but there's a lot of really good coaches that don't do this. I'm not a system guy. Like, I don't have a system. It's not my system, or this is what we're going to do. It's not the college level, where at the college level, you kind of recruit the guys that fit your system and the mold of how you want to play. We don't have that convenience here in high school basketball. We kind of play with the cards that were dealt along the way. And so I think your system has to adapt to that. Defensively, I think my personality leans probably more towards getting after people and getting into passing lanes and being aggressive. But to me, defensively, it's kind of a spectrum. It's a spectrum. On one end, you have containment, and on the other end, you have pressure. And you got to figure out where you fall on that spectrum. Because if you're all the way at the far right end of the spectrum, then you're giving up a lot of containment. And if you're all the way at the left end of the containment end, you're giving up a lot of pressure. And so finding where you lie in that pressure and containment spectrum, with being able to get after people, but without getting beat for layups, is kind of hard to do. So, I think we're going to pressure as much as we can, but we got to make sure we're not giving up easy layups when we're doing it.
Does that mindset kind of resemble you when you were playing at Twin Lakes and even at Hanover, the type of playing style you played?
Yeah, I think so. I do. I think we liked to get the ball out and play in transition and try to score fast, but at the same time, we weren't playing reckless. And it's playing as fast as we can. I tell them all the time, we're going to play as fast as we can without turning the basketball over. The moment we start turning the basketball over is the moment that we got to slow it down a little bit, because, you can't score if you're not getting shots up. I'd rather us take a bad shot than turn the ball over. Now, if any of my kids are listening to this, they're going to be like, hey, I can take bad shots. Absolutely not. We have a talk about shot selection too. But if I had to take one or the other, I would, we at least have a chance to score if a kid takes a bad shot over a turnover. So we're going to play as fast as we can without turning the basketball over, and then kind of take the same approach defensively, get after people as much as we can without getting beat for layups.
It sounds like a fun brand of basketball to watch. I'm looking forward to getting out and watching Western play this year. But if you're going to get after it on defense, and then also do some different things offensively that might confuse the opposition, but also do things that fit your team very well, I think the Western fans will enjoy the type of basketball that they're going to watch this year. And it sounds like you're excited about it and looking forward to the first game this coming Tuesday, Thanksgiving weekend, and further on, just really seeing what these guys can do this year.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I do think the style of play that we're going to play is one that's fun to watch. I think kids like to be involved in and playing it. If you watch an NBA game or most college basketball teams now, it's kind of the style of the popular type of basketball. And so, I think we're not always going to chase popularity and trying to please people. But when we have guys that, guys on our team that fit that mold and that I think can be successful in it, then, I think it makes it a lot of fun for us to coach. It's a lot of fun to play, and it's a lot of fun to watch sometimes.
Thanksgiving week for me when I was a kid, I always knew that Wednesday before Thanksgiving, it was Lawrence Central versus Lawrence North. I actually was in high school at LC. Greg Gordon and Mike Conley were at LN. We didn't win anything against them at that time, but I always knew that Wednesday before Thanksgiving was basketball. High school basketball starts. People in Indianapolis got excited about it. And here in Howard County, we're not down in Marion anymore. I'm not. We're here in Howard County. And on Tuesday, a couple days before Thanksgiving, it's Western and Kokomo, two Howard County schools battling it out in downtown Kokomo. What are some early thoughts you have about the season opener in a few short days?
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to go over there that night. It is. It's going to be a packed house, and there's going to be a lot of energy in the building. Obviously, when you have a guy like Flory on your team that Kokomo has, guys are going to come. Whether they're Western or Kokomo fan or not, there's going to be people who don't have a dog in the fight but are there to see a future NBA player. Yeah. And I can't blame them. But the message for our guys so far has been to not really think about that and to realize that it's just another basketball game. It truthfully is all that it is. And we still want to win. We're still going to go out and compete, but we're not going to go into the season opener from our standpoint, really, whether this was a game that had a guy that was committed to Kansas and, a team that might be ranked number one when the polls come out, whether that we're playing that team or not, it's just one basketball game. Yeah. And so we're not going to, completely throw our season away if it goes bad, and we're not going to overreact if it goes well. It's just a basketball game where we want to go compete and really get to see where we're at. And, we're going to find out where we're at because they're a really good basketball team with some really good players.
That reminds me about something you said earlier about how last year at Winnemac, 1 loss, 2 loss, losing the first 8 games, you could have easily thrown the season away, you as a coach or the players, and said, oh, we're done, forget it. And then you wouldn't have won that 9th game, or you wouldn't have won the final 7 of 11 if you guys just threw it in the towel. Whatever happens on this coming Tuesday, win or loss, win great, lose unfortunate, but you can't just ride the high or stay down with the low. You kind of got to level it out and stay even. Remember, this is a long marathon type of season, and so that's something that came into my mind, maybe in yours, about, hey, we can't just ride the outcome of this game for the rest of the year or throw in the towel. You kind of got to keep your head level and stay ready for the marathon that is the high school basketball season.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've already talked about that a little bit, to the point where if we go into Memorial Gymnasium and shocked the world and found a way to win on next Tuesday, and then get to March and lose in the first round of our sectional, truthfully, that Kokomo win doesn't really mean a whole lot anymore, So it's an early game. It absolutely means a lot. It means a lot to the community. But we're not going to make such a big deal of it that we make our whole season be based on the outcome of next Tuesday night. It's one game against a really good team. It's going to be a great environment, and it's a really great way to start the season. It really is. It's fun for everyone involved. But it's a basketball game, and we're going to treat it just like we would any other game.
What are some last comments you have about Western basketball when you're heading into your first season as the head coach of the boys basketball team?
Yeah, I'm just really excited to see how we progress throughout the year. I think we got a good group of seniors here, 3 of them in total that are coming back from last year's team. But we also got some young guys and some newcomers, and I think it's going to be a fun year to see how we progress and get better throughout the season. And that's our goal, is just get better each and every game, so that way, come March, hopefully we're playing our best basketball and we got a chance to make some noise in the tournament.
I really appreciate Coach Cameron Bennington coming to the Kokomo Post Sports Coaches Spotlight, introducing him to Howard County, and getting a look at what Western's boys basketball team will look at this season. I am your host, Jay Stevens. We'll see you next time.